Hey there, welcome back to the BOM Process course. We are still in Module 1, the 4 machines. And here in Lesson 5, we're talking about your customer experience machine. And this is one of the most important elements of an effective marketing or kind of the effective marketing in your business. And it's one of the most overlooked. So I want you to make sure that you hear me when I'm talking about this and understand what you need to be thinking about. So customer experience, the key concept here is that wowing your customers is the most powerful form of marketing. So you need to create a consistently great experience for your audience. If you don't, you will have trouble. If you do, everything gets easy. If you build this wonderful experience for people and they simply have a great experience every time they interact with your business. First of all, if you've done that from before they're potentially buyers or before they are buyers, it will help to foster conversions. But this will also build brand advocates, brand evangelists, and brand ambassadors, all things you want, which will help to market your brand. So some of the 5 elements that we put here are brand avatar, your touch points, your product design, your product delivery, and customer support. Now, you'll notice here we are talking about some product issues. This is, you may be wondering, but isn't that part of conversion? It is in some sense, but it's also part of the customer experience. So let's dive into each one of these elements a bit more. So brand avatar, the concept here is that you want people to have a consistent feel and a consistent experience as they interact with your brand. And the best way to do that is to define the avatar for your brand to guide what the experience is like. And the reason why this is important is if people have the same experience when they interact with you across different platforms, before they're a buyer, after they're a buyer, etc., it leads to a better experience. On the other hand, if they experience you one place and they like you, but then you have very different feel, very different attitudes, everything is kind of different across different channels or from your free content to your paid content, what happens is there's a shock all of a sudden when they move from one place to the other. That is not a good experience. People will tend to not be happy. And it's not that your product, for example, is bad. It's that they had a different experience. So you maybe didn't attract the right people to buy because the people who would have liked the interaction within your paid product weren't attracted by your free content because it was just different and you had a different feel to it. So this is the power of consistency. So you want to make sure that you're building that consistent feel throughout the experience with your brand. And a brand avatar does that. Now, next up is touch points. This is about spending time planning how you and your brand will connect with your audience and with your customers. The idea here is I don't want you to expect to kind of luck or happen into stellar customer experience. It doesn't happen that way. If you don't think about this, if you're not intentionally planning ways that you can have touch points, connection points with your audience in a way that will be positive, you're going to have an ad hoc experience and people generally won't like it because it just won't be thought out. Now, that's the concept here. Now, I will tell you that you sometimes will do some things which are spur of the moment, which are not planned out. And that's great too. But ultimately, you need to be planning for the different times and the different interactions that your audience will have with you and your brand and be intentional about it. So that's the concept of touch points here, is to just make sure that you're thinking that through. Next up is product design. And your product should be designed with a singular focus to get your customer results. That means focusing on what they need regardless of what you want. And what I want you to get from this is a very simple concept. Getting your clients results is one of the most powerful forms of marketing there is. If you get your customers results, they will be happy generally, and they will become brand advocates. But getting them results oftentimes means that you have to think about the product in a different way. And the concept here of delivering what they need regardless of what you want, I want you to make that clear. I'm not talking about the what they want versus what they need. I'm talking about what they need versus what you want. What I'm really driving at here is that if they need more than information, You can't simply create a course. You have to do something more. You have to understand what type of support do they need to get the results that they're looking to get. And then you need to design your product to deliver all of those components. So that's what I'm suggesting here, is that what we as marketers or we as business owners might want to deliver is irrelevant. What matters is what our customers and our audience needs, and we need to design our products to deliver on those needs. So that's product design, making sure that you've kind of designed what they're going to get to deliver the right value to them. But next up is product delivery. So beyond what you include in your products, you need to think about how you'll deliver that value, and to the maximum extent possible, streamline and make it convenient. Again, this is partly about thinking about an experience overall and what we talked about in some of the other concepts, but part of this is, as much as you can create one central hub so they don't have to go 18 different places to get value from you, that will be beneficial, right? Because it's streamlined and more convenient. But here's another point I want you to understand. You need to deliver in the format that they want and that they need. So there's a couple of pieces here. Number one, what they want. If your audience is someone who they're often on the go and can't really sit and just watch a video lesson, well, you need to think about making sure that you have an avenue to deliver the content and deliver your product to them that doesn't require that. Although BOMU is not a paid product, we think about it in the same way. That's why we have the Hello audio streams, where you can get the private podcast for each one of our courses. So you can listen to these trainings on the go without having to sit down and watch them on a computer screen. That's part of delivering in a way that is convenient to our audience. So that's part of it. It's just making sure that you're thinking through these delivery options. But also, it means that you have to think about where they are. And an example of this, and this might change with time, but there are many people who will ask questions about building a community outside of Facebook. And my simple question to them is that for you because that's what you want, or is that because that's what your audience needs and what will be convenient for them? If building your community on Facebook is the way that will streamline the experience and make it most convenient for your audience, chances are you should deliver it via that channel. Now, there might be reasons not to, and you might make value-based decisions on why not to, but I want you to be thinking about this, that we shouldn't simply say, but I don't like this delivery avenue. We should be saying, what is the delivery channel that our audience likes the best? And we should use that to the maximum extent possible. So that's product delivery. Now, the last thing to talk about here is customer support. Good customer service is a deciding factor for many buyers. So you want to make sure your customers can get quality support easily and can get the support when they need it. And so there's a couple of things here. Number one, you should be building up a customer support part of your business, even if it's just you. Some of this you should be streamlining for yourself by creating kind of canned responses and understanding how to respond to things. As your team grows, you'll start to have other people doing it, so you want that in place. But the other thing I want you to think about is that you need to deliver that support in a timely manner when your audience needs it. So the timely manner is one thing. Most people don't want to wait 2-3 days for a response. If that's the experience they have with you, they generally aren't going to like it. Now, it could be that something is very involved and you have to do some research. That's okay, but you should respond telling them that. So that's a general thing about how long it takes. But there's another aspect that you need to think about. If your audience will primarily be using the product that you sell or the products that you sell on the weekend, or if there's a large chunk of your audience that will be using it primarily on the weekend, you have to think about how do you deliver support, customer support on the weekend. And I know that's not a popular opinion because we all want to take time away from our business, and I agree. But I've recognized that my audience consists of a large chunk of people who are still working in a job as they build their business. And so the weekend is often the time that they're really able to dedicate to building their business. If my team and I had zero support over the weekend and we simply said, nope, we are off. We're going to take off Saturday and Sunday, or as some businesses say, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and there will not be support during that period, I would be doing a disservice to my audience because they would start to get into it. And if they had a problem, they would send in a support ticket, but they wouldn't then get a response until the week, and they would have to wait till the next weekend to really get back into it. So these are the types of things you need to think about in building out your customer support. And again, this doesn't have to be overly complicated. When you have a small business, it's not a ton. As your business grows, you need to think about this. Again, this might mean hiring a weekend support person, but just think through how you make sure that you deliver the right support that your audience needs. Now, again, if you've listened through what we've said consistently in this lesson, a lot of the topics and a lot of the things we've talked about come back to delivering what your audience needs, not what you want. And that's an important part of the customer experience, is recognizing that you need to create an experience that delivers based on what your audience needs, not what you want. That may not be a lesson or something you want to hear, but that's the reality of building a wonderful experience, which will then build a wonderful business for you. So the takeaway here is that if you delight your customers, they will fuel your business going forward. So take the time to engineer their experience and to do it in a way that will deliver on what they need. So that's what your customer experience machine should be all about. You need to make sure that those things are in place. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to turn away from the marketing machines and you'll learn more about the operations machine. So I will see you in the next lesson.